Can you both do a little improv riff, music, song, whatever, about Prodigal Peas in a Pod? Just give us off the top of your heads. What do you got for us?
Yeah.
All right.
Mike, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Peas in the pod. You gotta sing. Give it to God. He's your strength and he's your rod. How do you come up with that? Let me see.
Turn it on like that.
Peas in a pod, paws in a pea. Give it to God and you shall be free.
Nicely done, Jen.
Please just hold your breath. Every door looks better when you keep it closed. Keep your head down and don't watch your step. No point in even trying now, just let it go. Maybe they will write the same for me. Maybe this was really just a dream. Don't wanna take that risk and try to see. A 9 to 5 will bring security, I'm sure, but I can guarantee you that's no way to live. Way to live. Promise that's no way to live. Way to live.
Hello. Welcome back to the Prodigal Peas in a Pod podcast. My name is Darryl Nyamedi, aka SH1NOB1. Here followed by my fellow co-host, Nathan Nyamedi, aka Kwajo. Welcome back to another episode. I think we're the first guest on the pod. Yeah, super excited. Super historic moment. Very blessed to be in the presence of two legends. Yes. Really excited to be here. We're going to have a great discussion today about some pretty cool stuff. And yeah, I'm excited. Looking forward to it.
They are the first guest, and I'm Brooke Ackerman.
And I'm Denise Acosta, which hopefully you guys already know by now. But yeah, we are really excited. First time having guests today, and not just any guests. If you've been hearing the sound that's been playing as our intro and outro, these are the creators of that awesome tune, which I now have as a ringtone, by the way. Amazing. Today we're going to get to know more about them, more of the thought process on how that was going and how God's been using that in their lives and how that's impacted anyone else they may have been talking to.
Awesome.
Yeah?
Cool. Do it.
All right, let's do it. So how did we meet them in the first place? We sounds like a lot of people because I am new to the group here. So I'm gonna let Brooke take this one because she is how I got to meet them.
Oh my goodness. When was it? I don't even know.
That was like 2016, 17.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. You all were here before I was here.
Yeah.
Okay, and when I say here, I mean our church. Because they were students in high school when I took a position as a co-leader of the middle and high school youth ministry. And then I got introduced to these two amazing young men. I don't know how to explain it other than when you meet those people that you feel instantly connected to, you could have entirely different walks of life, but there's something in them that you feel a connection to, even though lives and circumstances and everything are very different. That's who these two are. And Mike Haynes, who is still the high school youth pastor here, we had them even after they left high school and came back to serve in our high school youth ministry. They would come back to serve as small group leaders. They would come back and serve on the worship team. And we told them and a handful of other students who were doing the same thing that they would always have a place here and they would always be able to come back. And that group of students decided that they were going to have a lifetime contract with youth ministries at Christian Fellowship Church. And these two have upheld that contract like no other. But I'll also let you all think that you want to say about connection to the church or me or Mike, or because it's just so fun to see them as young teenagers and now they're adults with jobs who are writing incredible music for us.
Yeah. So we've been in CFC, our ministry, pretty much all our lives, and we met Mike when we were transitioning from 8th grade to 9th grade. He came in as the high school leader, and then I think about a year or so later, we were introduced to Brooke. We left a pretty bad impression because it was an event where we were packaging food for kids in need, and when Brooke was trying to give instructions, me, Nathan, a couple of our friends were talking and being a little bit distracting, and then I've never seen anybody more mad in my life. I was like, oh my gosh, that is good. From there, it's been a trend upwards. Brooke has really helped lead us and guide us to a great relationship and foundation with Christ, and I'm super grateful and eternally blessed for that. And a lot with Mike and so many other different people who guided us through high school and now even to beyond college. It's something that I'm very appreciative of, and now we're meeting a lovely Denise in person, so I'm very honored to be here. for us to have this platform to be able to express. I love God. God, if you're watching this,
Yes, shout out.
I might steal.
fantastic guy.
Man. Yeah. I'm gonna piggyback what he said. Everything you hear from us is going to be like,
Yeah, a lot of things, but from a slightly different perspective. So, CFC entire lives started out in, what was it, Route 54 back then, with Rochelle, and then moving up to SMS. Then when we were leaving SMS, Micah came in. I think originally he was just middle school.
Yeah.
Because Jim Clark was our freshman youth pastor. And yeah, Mike eventually came in, and then when Brooke came to the scene, like Darryl said, oh my gosh, I remember that day. It was like my first impression of her. We're giving back to the community, packing all these things, and everybody in the room is talking. She get everyone's attention, and we're like the last people to get the memo. So, like when the teacher does that thing where she's like, "I'll wait," and wait for people to start talking. Like that's what Brooke did, and then like talking to Darryl and our friends Daniel and Uriel, and all of a sudden like I look up and like I'm just getting this like, and I was like, who does she think she is? And I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a long 3 years. But no, like, very quickly I just had very quickly misunderstood who she was as a person. Just getting to hear her story and how God has worked in her life through the adversity and things like that. Man, I just grew to love her instantly, and the love was reciprocated back tenfold. For those of you who see us around church, like every Sunday, I always say I never have to find her because she finds me. Like I'll literally be standing there and I hear footsteps creeping, and then I just get assaulted with the hug. But it's something I look forward to every Sunday. Like it's not a normal Sunday if I don't feel that love, and that is just a small token. But in perspective, just the relationship we have, like Darryl said, and with Mike and Brooke, people who were really instrumental to our faith. It was just super important to be around people like that who have walked those steps before us and gave us a foundation, and were always there for us to lean back on when things didn't always look too hot. Again, like I say all the time, Brooke and Mike are really the reason why we came back in the first place, right? We had that foundation, the example to what it looks like to serve. They are truly the motivation 100% whenever we came back. So I'm just super grateful to be serving in a capacity and just getting closer with them as well. I think that bonds like that you never want to lose. So I'm just super grateful to still have that to this day, and it's only going to get stronger. And of course, meeting Denise, just the vibrant energy I can tell already. I've known you for like a week or two. And it's super easy to tell. If Brooke says you're okay, then you got to be more than okay. So, super grateful to be here, and yeah, just super excited. Shout out CFC.
Okay. I feel like I need to clear up though this first impression.
This is the first time we're talking about it.
I know we're gonna have a little coaching session right here. For me. Honestly, I didn't like that was my first introduction, like as far as the high school students meeting me.
Yeah.
It was a really hard way to enter in because that whole day was about giving instructions,
Right.
making sure people were following instructions, and making sure we were packaging the things that we needed to package up
Yeah.
to send them to people who were going to be receiving them. I just remember standing there the whole time thinking, these kids are going to hate me, because it sounded like I was just coming in with, you all need to listen. And it was hard because it was really hard because I needed to make sure things were done properly. And I just remember standing there going, this is the worst introduction ever. And what was hard is that I really didn't have a problem at all with all the conversations and everything you all were doing. But we had a time frame, and it was going to come back on me if it wasn't done. And I just remember thinking, this is not at all how I wanted this to go. And you all are not the only people who have told me, man, that first date. And I was like, I know, and that's not at all who I am. But there definitely were times where I was like, okay, we need to get this done. And yeah, the teacher, because for those who have listened, and if you haven't listened before or watched, I was a classroom teacher in the public school system, so that the teacher voice does not leave.
It never leaves.
And once you get it, it never goes away. And there were times that I definitely had to do the I need your attention and the death stare. But it was just so hard because it's not at all how I wanted my first impression for you all to get to know me.
Look at us now. Look at us now.
The Lord protect.
But I will say, give you credit. I will say, being in a position where I'm a small group leader now, like I know how much paid. I see it from your perspective now, like trying to get people's attention, getting people to stop talking. This was 15-year-old me speaking. We are very
Big beret here. But now that I'm in the shoes, I definitely understand what
No
that's
joke.
like.
It's not a joke. Not a joke at all. These kids are ruthless. These kids are ruthless.
But see, I just love it. It's like it's coming full circle.
full
for
circle.
y'all. It's just so
It's full
great.
circle.
So
It's
good.
great.
I love it.
Yeah.
A lot of time has passed. How much time has passed since you graduated?
Wow. So I used to like 6 years.
In 6 years. College, I just graduated in the summer last year. I just graduated in December, so maybe there's a link.
December's a great month.
Oh, it sure is.
Yeah.
Jesus is.
Yeah, I didn't forget. Shout out.
What I was trying to get at is, what are you guys doing now then? So we know you do music because we have the intro and outro with you guys. How did that come about? Is that all you guys do? Is there anything else?
Yeah. So I'll just talk a little bit what we're doing right now. So right now we're working at a IT solution company called Carousel out of Reston. IT procurement, sales, government account stuff. It's very day to day, like with a computer science background, like we did in college. A lot of that analytical stuff carried over, but it's still languages that we understand and things like that. And that's cool because it's remote. So being able to sit at home and do that, still give time to other things like music, volunteering, and things like that. But yeah, music, that started way before like senior year of high school. For me, senior year of high school. For him, it was like a year or two earlier.
I realized that.
Yeah, but even that, like the origin stems back even.
That was a fun fact. We were gonna be in a band with
Yeah.
two of our friends called
Little
Tio.
alternative pop punk.
We're gonna be the next 5 seconds of summer.
Yeah, next Paramore. Wow, it goes back even further. 'Cause
Yeah.
the, like love for music, I guess, kind of stemmed from the Wiggles.
The Wiggles,
like
yeah.
literally the Wiggles. Like
Stop
I
it.
swear, I literally, I'm not even.
Yeah,
joking.
exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
fruit
exactly.
Salad, top 10. Right?
Greg was my favorite Wiggle of all time. Yellow
Yeah.
shirts, iconic.
But like, yeah, watching them, Murray specifically, the red one, which is why red is my favorite color.
That's my favorite. What a green piece.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so drawn to the podcast.
Right.
Yeah, but the Wiggles was the reason why I started playing guitar. And then as I grew in my love for that, and then my music taste started expanding, I was like, bro, why don't I just start a band? So me, him, and two of my other friends started a band. It was just like cringy YouTube covers. I still have some up on my. I thought they were pretty fire for what it was. I mean, at the time, there, but.
All right, guys, make sure you do that search
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Yeah. Look up my YouTube channel, Kwajo, Kwajo, and scroll all the way to the bottom. You'll see like.
Yeah, look up.
Yeah, we look like babies on there.
Yeah.
Because I'll be doing that later too.
Oh, record, because I did not know this about that.
Yeah, but yeah, we did that for a while. Then we got to high school, and then like I remember one day, like the two of the other people in the band were like, "I just outgrown this." And it literally got to the point where one day they found me in the bus loop, took my phone, went on YouTube, and saw the videos that they were in, like deleted them off my phone. Yeah, that was a very aggressive heartbreak.
Yeah.
But God works in mysterious ways because when that door closed, the solo careers opened up. From there, like in 8th grade, we started rap battles in middle school. There's this guy on YouTube called Super Hot Fire, and he did these scripted rap battles, and it was like so cool, it was like the audience reaction and stuff. And we would do that as a joke with our friends. But then we carried that over into freshman year of high school, and then as we grew more and more, oh wait, we started doing it at the sleepovers and stuff, and then it turned into, oh wait, maybe we should try writing our own lyrics, and then
Yes!
that just
Love that.
evolved more and more. Yeah, that's the origin of how it started culminating to a place where we took it seriously. Yeah, the origin stems way back. So I'll say, yeah, music has been a part of our lives.
Oh, 1,000%.
Since an early age.
And I guess for me, in particularly, it started in junior year because at the time we were all trying to do these rap battles, stuff like that. Like when we first started to put into motion what we wanted to write lyrics, we would just find beats on YouTube and just start freestyling, stuff like that. And then whenever something comes to mind, we just write it down. Oh, this sounds really good. And then so one day, my friend Dan watching this out of rap. One day, he was talking about buying a microphone and recording his own music. I was like, oh, that's a little scary, but I would love to do that. So one day, I went to his house after school, recorded my first song, put it on SoundFood. I was scared because I went through like 3 name changes. So I went to my first artist thing was Lil Bill after the show, Little Bill, like the Bill Cosby show, like the Queen show.
Oh, okay.
Because everybody said I looked just like him. That's just great. And so, yeah, so then I recently, so I've been one thing about me is I love anything like comics, anime, things of that nature, like sci-fi media. one of my favorite shows ever is called Naruto, and so that's how I named myself Shinobi, because in that world the ninjas are called Shinobis, and I just replaced the eyes of one. So I was like, I'm trying to be as creative as possible, and I was like, I don't know if that would be right. But so yeah, so I dropped my first song on SoundCloud in I think 2017, 2018. And then I was really scared because I was like, first song, I don't know how it's gonna go. People at school loved it, some people hated it, some people were like right in the middle in the gray area. So I was like, a reaction is better than no reaction. So then me from that, going into these other songs, just kept being like, okay, how do I build off of this, that, and the third? And I didn't necessarily know what my identity was as an artist. I just like putting out lyrics and putting out songs just to put it out. There wasn't necessarily any substance to it. And then I think Nathan's first song was my third song ever. It was like 2018, I think.
I think it was February or March of 2019.
2019? Okay, yeah, 2019. And so we were just rapping, doing all these different things. We didn't necessarily know what our identity was. And then we got to the point, because I remember having a talk with Nathan where we were just like, all these things are great, but what are we necessarily doing? Like, is there any substance? Is there anything that would push the needle for people? So like, having that kind of self-realization, and then realizing, going through things that you've taught or things that Mike have taught, there's so much more to music than just things that sound, that there has to be some message or meaning or something that drives a narrative to people to either connect them or bring them together. And so we made the realization around near the end of 2019, just okay, if we're gonna do this music, then we gotta do it in a way that glorifies God and it allows people to see his love and so many different aspects of him and how good he is. So we kind of had a little bit of a culture switch in our music around like 2019, 2020-ish. And since we started music, so many great things have happened. We've met our favorite artists. We've had million+ streams on all platforms combined. We've had so many crazy opportunities to perform for pretty big artists. Just a lot of the connections and stuff we've made for people have been really great. And I'm super blessed to be able to have the gift that God has given me to be able to push the agenda, that he's the GOAT and he loves all of us. And so being able to spread so much love and positivity every day through my music is something that I'm really, really happy about, because I get a lot of comments and stuff in DMs and stuff saying how my music has helped someone's life or changed someone's aspect of God and whatever the case may be. So knowing that I have that impact on somebody is a little bit overwhelming, but I think it's really cool to be able to know that I have that influence. Yeah, this is.
Yeah, I was gonna say earlier when they were talking about how it's gonna be an echo of what the other one said, they are twins.
We are.
They're not just siblings, they're twins. Yeah, but Trini, I don't know, for anybody who's not watching and you're just listening, you're missing my face beaming as these two talk about everything, because I just like, aren't they just so squeeze them every time I see them. They're just so amazing. Seriously though, you all could have done a gazillion different things in the music industry. You really could have. You are two of the most talented people, and that you took time to pause and go, hang on a second, what's driving this? What's the purpose behind this? Who are we? And then who is it that we want to present to the world, not just music? And you could have done that any other way and still been incredibly successful, and that you took the time to contemplate that, make decisions, make choices. So you guys are just so amazing. You're just so. I love you so much.
Yeah. To expand on that a little bit, I remember when I first started, and like being in high school and finding hip hop and things like that. Of course, the narrative around it is drugs, money, girls, all these things that are self-gratifying, and of course we try to dip our hand in that, and that's at first when you start to rap and things like that, those things actually come out. But then again, it came to a point where I said, what are we really doing? And funny enough, when we first started, my mom had no idea we were making music. She bought us a mic for Christmas.
Yeah.
But no, she put together that we were just like music thing. I don't know if she just thought we were just using it.
I think that's a mom thing. Like, they're so supportive, right? I don't know what my kids are doing. This will make them hyper a little bit.
Right.
Next thing that they're into.
Right.
It's like the thing that blew up.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And she was a daycare provider. She recently became a Montessori teacher. Had a little upgrade. But for the longest time, I always grew up like little brothers and sisters looked up to us. One of the first driving factors for that was if one of those kids heard my song, not only would they like show my mom, but that young influence. Yeah, that young influence, it could go one of two ways, right? They could hear that and be like, okay, what he's saying is okay because it's Nathan. I know Nathan. I've grown up around Nathan, things like that. And so that was one of the things. Just growing more in my faith and, again, literally going through the lessons and things you were teaching us every Sunday as we're going through high school, understanding the added responsibility that I had as a Christian and when the world around me to, right, be in the world, but not as a product. Don't be a product of it.
Yeah.
Don't pick up what is being thrown at you. Again, we had a conversation. One of our old friends, me, him, and Darryl had this thing where we said authenticity is the number one goal. Whatever we did, it had to be authentic. And for us, what being authentic meant was reflecting what God has been doing in our lives. So naturally, okay, that's just how we have to go with the music. That's just the route we have to take. So if we were ever in a position where that was being compromised, we had to pull back. We just had to pull the plug because our salvation isn't worth a plaque or a million streams or things like that. And it's great, like Darryl said, the fruits that have been shown by just surrendering that to God have been great. The million streams have been great. For those who don't know, there's this radio station called Apple Music One. It's one of the biggest radio stations in the world. And the guy who runs it, Zane Lowe, like he randomly played our song Inside Out on there. It's a super cool thing.
Amazing.
Yeah. One of my songs got put in Spotify's end of the year. Fresh 5 Hip Hop Top 100 Songs. Super cool. So, these things are cool. These accolades are nice in the moment. Don't get me wrong. Like, as a human, like he doesn't actually enjoy those things, right? It's something to be super proud about. But for us, it's more so just a confirmation of what happens when you take the plans you thought you made for yourself and surrender them to the Lord. Again, and I love talking about this because it's just a testimony as to how faithful God has been in our music and things like that. So yeah, it's just super cool being able to grow in it. And I remember when we were young, I remember in high school, we're like, man, we got to blow up before we graduate. I don't want to go to college. So that didn't happen. Yeah.
I love that they said when we were young.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're so old now.
But the kids, that's crazy. The kids from the youth ministry watching this, they call us Unc all the time. Like I tell them, like, man, I graduated in 2019. They're like, I was born in 1901.
My sister called me Unc recently, and I was like,
It's
oh.
very like when somebody calls you an Unc as a little kid, it's like an ego check. Like you're like, you're hurt. You get hurt by it, and they act like we graduated high school when like color TV was introduced.
I'm gonna stop you right there. So I love that we're talking about your guys' testimony, and there's more that I want to dive into on that. Before we get into where you are right now, I want to talk about what that looked like in high school. You mentioned a lot of things about your faith and how that was important to you and your salvation, and you were doing all this in high school. That was not me in high school, and that wasn't the culture for us. There were some Christians, sure, and nobody was necessarily mean to them, but it was very few. It was very much like your mainstream stuff is the music you're going to hear, and that's, if you wanted to survive in high school, that's the area that you needed to be. And I feel like that culture has shifted a lot now, in the sense that it is almost scary to come out as a Christian now, with just the way that things are right now. So what did that look like for you guys when you were going to high schools? I'm sure there are some people like that were moved by your music and influenced by them, and it shifted their perspective on God. What did that look like for you guys in high school? How did you navigate that? How did you talk about your faith?
Yeah, just to be completely honest, it was terrifying. There were a lot of chances and a lot of regret that I used to pile on myself where I had opportunities to talk about my faith, things like that, but I was just simply way too scared.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I was worried about saying the wrong thing, offending someone, thinking I was coming out too judgmental. So a lot of times in high school, there were just moments where I just didn't talk about my faith at all. There were moments where we would go to Fellowship of Christian Athletes, things like that.
What's that Chick-fil-A? Did they still do that?
Not when I went. Not when I went. Maybe I wasn't consistent in that
high
afternoon.
school.
Yeah. But yeah, and I do remember specific moments where I was like, okay, dude, you claim to love God and all these things, so why are you afraid to wear that on your chest? I remember when FCA would do the flagpole prayer, like my freshman and sophomore year, I think I would walk by it and just be like, I just keep walking when I know in my heart I should have done it, but it was just too nervous, too anxious. But then I remember as I got older and older, I think like junior and senior year, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it, why not? So moments like that where, or even praying at lunch before I eat my food and things like that, man, would terrify me. But again, as I was going through HSU, learning more from Mike and Brooke and just becoming bolder in my faith, it turned into something that I literally couldn't shut up about. Which is, it's funny, and we'll go into this more, but I don't necessarily consider the music I make like Christian, quote unquote. I'm just someone who loves to talk about Jesus, and it's impossible not to have that bleed over in my music and my daily conversations. So yeah, especially when I got to college, it became something I was hiding away on purpose and sheltering, keeping private, to something that I literally could not shut up about. It definitely was a journey. Had I been bolder in high school, things probably looked a lot different, but I think it was a beautiful and nurturing period of learning to step into boldness in that and craft that identity. Darryl said, in high school, you have an idea of what your identity is, but you don't really know what it is. So growing into that, especially having an identity rooted in Christ, was super instrumental.
Yeah. And for me, I think that the foundation that Brooke and Mike laid for us to be able to be bolder in your faith is something that it took me a little bit to understand that, because growing up in middle school, going to high school, it's a nerve-wracking thing because of the culture in high school, because being Christian might not be cool, or saying stuff about Jesus might be very offensive to some people. And so you want to be very mindful of that, but also you don't want to fully knock off the idea of being able to publicly pronounce your faith. So little things like taking steps to praying before lunch, or just praying in general, or just talking about these, and even like the FGA stuff. It was really nerve-wracking for me because I didn't want to be scared my whole life of Jesus, but the more time that I spent with Brooke and Mike and learning more about how to really wear Jesus on your chest and being able to be a representative and be such a great example of what it's like to walk with Christ, the more and more I became confident, like understood. There's so many things that people are going to say stuff, people are going to have different opinions. As long as you're serving God and really just being able to be an embodiment of what his love is, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. And taking that little step and growing up and being able to watch my confidence grow in Christ, and even now, I'll pray for anybody, no problem. I'll be able to pray at Thanksgiving or just pray in public and stuff like that. I think it's little things like that. All these different things come back to the ministry that we grew up in. I think it's been a really great thing to be able to carry that over from being in middle school to now being a full-grown adult, and being able to now have the ability to shed light to those for the middle schoolers or the high schoolers or all the people that we're leaders of. I think it's just a really great opportunity to be able to just grow in that, because I think we all have been in that little space where the culture and in school and things like that have been a little bit scary. But
Yeah, and I mean, feeling scared, I don't think goes away just because you reach adulthood. There have been far too many times that I would like to admit where I felt go pray for this person, go talk to this person. And same thing, I felt this, are they going to think I'm crazy? Are they going to get mad? What are they going to, and there have been opportunities that I passed on. And I don't think God hasn't smited. What's the past tense of smite? he didn't smite me, so I think he and I are still cool. But it's just it's the missed opportunity. It's the what effect could that have had, and not just for that person, but what did I miss out on by not having those conversations? And I like that you said that it's been a process. It's you grow into things, because I think sometimes people think you either have faith or you don't. You get it or you didn't have it. You can't flip a switch. It is something that, yes, you make a choice, but then you grow into it, just like any other thing that you learn or become familiar with. It's not, and now everything in life is great. I can say all the prayers. I can talk to all the people. I can do all the things. But, you grow through it. And yeah, I love hearing that about the two of you and your stories.
Something else I was hearing while you guys were talking, a lot of shout outs to Mike and Brooke.
Absolutely.
So in that, and there's a huge influence there on both of them and their job and their role and what that all looked like. And ultimately, I would call that layer community. Not everyone has community. Like I said, I was very different in high school. I wasn't in that community. Was it available? Sure, probably somewhere. I didn't go to it. And I know now in my walk and how much of a difference community has made and how important that is. Obviously, that helped you guys a lot too. Do you have anything that you would want to say about community, and maybe to those kids that haven't done it, because I go to church sometimes, and like, why do I need to go Wednesday night? All these church kids, right? Yeah, like
For sure.
what would you say to them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think growing up, even being in CFC on Sundays, even then, being there for an hour, you have a sense of community in that hour, but then you go back to your regular Monday through Saturday, and then you're around different influences. Not all of them, of course, like, are godly, upheld, and things like that. You're in an environment in high school where there's a little bit of everything, right? So it becomes this struggle, and again, I feel like community helped me form my identity in Christ, because I saw these beautiful examples around me, and that kind of helped me embolden that. But yeah, I think community, especially for a young Christian, is super, super important, because influence is everything, especially when you're in those developmental years and things like that. And for me, again, being in that CFC community in high school, didn't necessarily feel as connected, because like, I was there, I wasn't going to Wednesday nights or anything like that. So that 1 hour was super important to me to hold on to. But of course, a lot of the times when I left, I just go back to regular Monday through Saturday. But I would say in my latter years of college, meeting my current friend group now and learning more about them and their faith and how everyone's in different walks of their faith and things like that, really just pushed me to embolden that. And of course, coming back for camps and things like that. And I'm super blessed now, coming back, being involved in CFC. This is what the community I've been missing out on. Never felt so connected, coming Wednesdays, Sundays, serving any capacity I can. But I think it's super important because a lot of Christians, a lot of people who love God, hate church. And a lot of things root from that church hurt. I know I've talked to a lot of people, seen a bunch of people online talk about how the church has scarred them, pushed them away, been very judgmental and things like that. And that has real implications on their faith. You want God because it's, okay, God, I like you, but I hate your people.
Yeah.
So I think it becomes really messy and really unfortunate when there's someone who wants to grow closer to God, but can never have that community because that church they went to, that pastor made that one comment about them, or that if they're high school, those kids were being mean to them and things like that. Man, I'm super grateful again to being in a space like CFC where things like that don't really exist. And man, my heart hurts for people who never get to experience a community like this. And my prayer for them is they find a community who accepts them for who they are, wherever they are in the walk with Jesus, whether they know 20 Wahoo versus 0. I just think it's super, super important to be in a place where, and this is why I love camp, right? I love being secluded in an area where it's just Jesus freaks everywhere. And just being in a place where everyone has the same goal in terms of, man, we love God, we just want to grow closer. It's super eye-opening and inspiring wherever you are on your faith. And I think for me, like I camp, we're leaders, but we're just adult campers. Like we have responsibility to take care of kids, but man, it's funny because I spend most of my Sundays up in the high school ministry, even though I'm an adult. And even outside of the fact that I have to be there for a small group leader, just like learning and hearing Mike talk about these messages that are crafted for high schoolers, I find myself hearing things that relate to me as a 23-year-old who's been out of high school for 6+ years. So man, community just changes your perspective on God. It shows the beauty that is in humanity. So I think it's super, super important in my prayer, again, for anyone who lacks that, has a bad interpretation of what it is, just ask God to reveal that community for you and walk in that. Because when you do, man, just having people to lean on, because you can talk to friends about certain things. When you talk to someone who's in faith, who knows, oh, hey, going through this, man, I think read this book of the Bible, pray about this. The spiritual solution always hits harder. Just leaning on that, looking for that in your community is super, super impactful. I hope for everyone to find a place like CFC. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Nathan in the sense that community is really everything. Being able to come back after all these years, even being a student, now becoming a leader, being able to forge so many different connections and being able to grow with people. I feel like my faith has been the strongest it's ever been, just being so involved with so many people at church, being here Wednesday, Sundays, and like Nathan said, at camps and things like that. And I think that being a product of your environment is super important. Just being able to surround yourself with people who understands you and know you and just really are able to reach you on spiritual levels that some people might not understand. And another thing, I think what stops some people from building a community is a sense of inadequacy. Some people just feel as if they aren't worthy to be loved by God or be in a community where all these different people, because the whole stigma of Christians are perfect and have everything all together and they know everything. I feel like it's such a big misconception because I'm just as broken as everybody in this room, everybody watching. I feel like we're all in this world where brokenness is such a big thing and nobody has to put together. The only person who ever did is Jesus Christ, and he's the only person who had everything lined up perfectly. Having people come back down to the realization that we're all imperfect, but God uses our brokenness to make so many beautiful things. But yeah, I think just being able to know that God can use me in any season of my life, and he can use anybody, literally, and no matter how old you are, skin color, whatever the case may be, just you could be somebody's miracle in human form, and there's so many different impacts that you could have, and you might not even know. Like, opening the door for somebody, being able to greet them, and spread love, and just being able to say, hey, wow, your outfit's super dope. I think the little things like that are super crazy cool blessings that could bring people to Christ. And also being able to be such a great representation of Christ and walking in the fruits of the Spirit and being able to really just carry yourself in such a positive light where somebody comes up to you like, wow, you're such an amazing person. How did you become X, Y, and Z? Wow, let me tell you about my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. It's a crazy segment. And so,
We have a few minutes.
let's talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Yeah, I just think that it's very important to find people who really love Christ and really are able to understand your brokenness, because we're all in this together. God never called us to do this journey or this walk of faith by ourselves, and I think that's one of the really important things. Some people think they have it all together by themselves, like just build their faith up from the ground up, and there's so many different people, like pastors, different group leaders. There's so many people that can have an influence on our faith. So I just really encourage people who are watching and listening just to be able to find that person or somebody who can help gateway you into a stronger faith and kind of help you build that foundation, because it can build so many different connections. Because if we didn't have the faith and the drive to love Christ as much as we do, we would not be sitting here in this podcast. So God has opened the doors to so many different people that we can add to our community, and it's forever growing. And I'm super blessed to be able to even have a community in the first place. So to be able to go through life and add so many different people who love Christ, add so many different people who can help build my faith is something that I'm really looking forward to in the years to come. So that's something that's very inspirational.
Amen.
Seriously, like, when are you all going to do a sermon?
While I'm hogging this mic, because I just have so many questions for everyone here. So having heard this, as a former youth pastor with Mike, you're seeing the actual fruits of that labor, right? Like when you're in that kind of a role, you're hoping that you're planting seeds and you're praying and you're doing the best that you can, but now you're hearing how that effect has taken root.
Yeah.
What's that like?
Okay, let's see if I can get through this without crying. And if I don't, that's okay, because tears are very welcome. Yeah, that's one of the things that Mike and I used to talk about often, actually, is he and I were doing the best we could, and we were hoping seeds got planted, but most of the time, you don't get to see the rest of that person's journey. You have them for a certain amount of time, and then they're off and they're living their lives and they're doing the things, and you hope for the best. But to actually get to see, and it's not just these two young men, there are lots of students that I'm still in touch with, which is just so much fun and so incredible that God is kind to do that. But to actually see the people that they have grown into and that they are still on their journey of becoming and growing in their faith. But that's, like I said, you don't usually get to see that, and that I get to see that in several different people is just really fun and really kind. But to sit here doing a creative endeavor that I felt like, oh my gosh, we're going to do this. This is a little scary. This feels a little nerve-wracking. We don't really know how this is going to go. And to sit here in that kind of a creative endeavor with two people who are on their own creative journeys, whose hearts are just on fire for Jesus, I don't know if I have words to say the emotional effect that has, but our stories are holy, and I say that all the time, and that I got to be a part of your stories, and that I still get to be a part of your stories. I don't know if there are words for that. That is one of the most amazing things. As a youth pastor, yes, but in a community of people who are pursuing Jesus and in the bigger human story of life, that I still get to stay in touch with you all and see the people that you are and the continuing journey that you're on. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Hey guys, so if it sounds like it just cut off in the middle of a sentence, it's because we did. We like to talk a lot, if you haven't noticed, and so we are extending this episode. We are making this one too. So you'll see the rest of it in the next one. Thanks for tuning in to our podcast, Prodigal Peas in a Pod. I'm not sure how you found us today, but just want to make sure you know all the platforms we are on, and those are Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Amazon Music.
And if you would like to reach us directly, you can send us an email at prodigalpeas@gmail.com.
So since this podcast is a merge of both of our brands, mine is Misfit of Creation, and if you're looking to get more information on that, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, and the Etsy shop, which is where you can find all those downloadable tools and products.
And if you'd like to find out more about my coaching practice, you can find me at blueprintheartandmind.com, where I have a blog, totally free. Come check it out. And you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. See you next time.
Bye.
Think I get it now. I need to be myself because a copycat can only do so well. In love with everything that makes me who I am. Don't need a backup plan. I hope they understand that I'm doing better today. I got me a mission that got some fruition. You down to stay out the way. Can't seek validation from people who hating. I got my mentality straight. Shout out to God, I've been keeping the first. He been working and paving the way. And now I can guarantee you that's the way to live. Way to live. Promise that's the way to live. Way to live. Promise that's the way to live.
We pretty much listen to everything but country, really. Shade the country. I feel like that's where God is definitely not calling.
For sure.
That's okay. I'm not the savior. You know, not God's plan, so He can't make us. Something in the Bible about Nathan Nyamedi.
Which I think is interesting because for not everybody would know this, but I often refer to the two of you collectively as the Nyamedi Boys.
Yeah.
And my husband, John, hi John.
Hi, John.
I do.
He said that sounds like they're like a cowboy gang.
Oh.
Look out, the Nyamedi Boys are in town.
I feel like it's the Yem.
I promise we're not intimidating you. Maybe it makes version like
Maybe I might dabble just because he said that. We might have to for sure. Yeah.
A little country riff
Yeah,
for
for
Prodigal Peas.
sure. Yeah.